What's up, everybody? This is Dell. Welcome to Dell on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. Welcome to another episode of Movie Swap. This is number 55. My guest in tonight is a special guest because I have a couple tonight. I don't just have one person sitting across from me, I have two. They've been making their name in the horror community and in the blurred community, and I'm really, really excited to have them here. It is Tyrone and Jaleesa of Evol Live. What is up, people?
Hey,
Hello,
everybody.
hello.
It's been a while.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm so happy to see you here. I'm hoping, and I'm gonna leave my personal life out of this after this. I'm hoping that my wife is in the other room watching because I keep trying to encourage her to get on camera, but she does not want to do that. But it's all good. That is all good. All right, I'm just going to start off for you guys with the question that I've heard you ask other people. And this is basically for the benefit of my audience. And it is, what is your horror origin story?
Ooh,
Yes, you get.
you can
Oh,
get into it.
I've been blessed. I actually came from a family who are they are fans of the horror genre, much so. My mother and my brother, and my origin story starts with basically my mother doing my hair and needing something to watch, and one day just decided, you know what, I'm done watching whatever you want to watch. I want to watch what I want to watch. And she starts putting on these movies, movies like Tales from the Hood and Death by Temptation. She had to cover my eyes a couple, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I really was like, what is she watching? But I was really intrigued. I had so many questions, and that's where my story started, basically, with her showing movies while she was doing my hair. And then I went to camp and realized there were other kids who love horror. So our thing was Goosebumps. So we would get together, and after we were done our work in camp, we would watch Goosebumps.
All right, so before Mr. Tyrone goes, I got to ask this question. How old were we seeing Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Like, so I was a fan of like Hey Arnold and the Rugrats, and I'm telling my age. So this had to be six, seven, eight.
Wow, wow. I'm older than both of you guys. And I asked because I grew up in a household where, after about 10, mom didn't really care what I watched. She was just, whatever, just watch it. So, and I actually saw The Exorcist about 8, to be honest with you. That's kind of why I asked. So we got something in common there. Go ahead, Mr. Tyrone. All yours.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Tyrone, yeah, Mr. Tyrone, go.
I got into horror by actually Mr. Senior Evil, my dad. And he always loved the genre, so we would go to Blockbuster, rent the videos every weekend, and he would introduce me to the classics, like the Child's Plays, the Evil Deads, Night of the Demons. And it was just something about like demonic possession that always like caught my eye, captured my imagination. So, I started to watch these things over and over and buy the tapes, the VHSs, and sit back and rewind and bring them over to my friend's house and things like that. And I was just like, yo, this is my favorite, kind of movie. Like I love all genres, but the horror sticks out, stuck with me to this day.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's easy to stick when, especially when you're young. That you see something and it just makes your eyes pop out of your head. So I definitely get it. Now I know you guys watch a lot of horror together, so I got two-part question here. A, if let's pretend it's just a night where you two are gonna watch a movie together. You're absolutely gonna watch a movie together. A, who picks the movie? B, how often do you disagree once the movie's over?
Ooh.
That's a good
Yeah, that
question,
is a
Dell. I
really good
like that.
question.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever been asked that.
No, no.
Well, I'm going to, he picks the movies.
Okay.
All right. Let me stop. I'm fronting. It's me. It's me. Like if I am not feeling the movie, I'm not gonna sit through it. Especially if the performances are whack, like the acting. I can't get past it. I don't care if everyone is talking about it on the socials. I don't care if it's like rave reviews on Letterboxd. I don't care if the acting is bad, especially by the main character. I'm not gonna sit through it. I can't do it. So yeah, it's me. I was trying to front. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think I pick. But how often do we disagree? I think. Well, you know what? I'll let you answer that. I want to hear what you guys say.
I mean, I feel like we disagree on. I feel like because we have both, we have two different perspectives. Like when I met her and we started watching movies together, she started bringing a whole different perspective to film to me. Movies like The Babadook, which upon first viewing I hated, but then after watching it with her, she opened up a whole nother like layer to the film for me. So I was like, oh, I love this film. Or, even recently, rewatching Heretic with her, because I went to the theaters with my brother, saw Heretic, and then I was like, damn, Jaleesa would really love this. And then we ended up watching it the other night, and she absolutely loved it. And, I feel like we disagree about a good maybe 30
Yeah,
40% of the time,
That's
but
that's a
it's
healthy amount. Okay.
it
yeah,
is.
yeah, it's but it's a more so like perspective on the characters and the what is it, the moralities and things like that of the story and things like that. So,
So I'm guessing that sounds like it leads to some pretty good discussions, though.
oh yes, oh yes.
It
Oh, okay.
does.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Um, so 30-40%. That is a pretty healthy amount. I like it. Um, so when you guys are putting this thing together, when you guys put this thing together, as far as Evil Live, how did that come about?
Well, I mean, we love talking about movies at the end of the day, so it's just, having fun with the community, dipping our toes in it and just exploring the different avenues of the internet and talking about things that people don't necessarily get to talk about with everybody else. You don't get to talk about the Twilight Zone at the dinner table. You don't get to talk about psychological thrillers at the dinner table. But with us, you get to discuss.
Yeah, we actually the podcast started out as like all genres at first. Just, he loves movies, I love movies. We connected on that when we first started dating. The type of films, we connected on the type of films we thought no one else saw because we didn't have anybody in our lives, like personally in our circles that we could talk to about. Like, I couldn't go to my friends and be like, oh, what did y'all think about 500 Days of Summer? And they'd be like, what? They're not watching 500. They're talking about some. What did you see? What happened on Power? And I'm like, I watched
Right.
that too. That's cool. But like, I like Perks of Being a Wallflower and all that. Like, I was a hopeless romantic, and watching all this, discovering all these other films. Then when we met, I was like, oh, like you seen this film too? And we were just connected on that. And I was also learning from his perspective how he was viewing these movies, his personal analysis on it, how he could relate to these characters, the arcs. So, like, I had my spin, he got his spin, and we just connected on that. So it originally started off with all genres, but then he loved talking to the horror community so much, and then I just kind of, joined in, and we just niched down to horror and thrillers.
Cool, cool. All right, so I know that he has a love for the movie Abby from the 70s. Do you share that love for the movie Abby?
So one time we were at home, and it was one of those Sundays. It was bed peace Sunday. Bed peace Sunday, that's where we just stay in bed. We take our shower, then we go back to bed. We go out and get food, snacks, and we just stay in bed watching movie after movie after movie.
Okay.
So I was like, I really want to show you the movies that my mother was doing my hair to and what made me love these films. One of them was Abby. Another one was the first Wishmaster. So I
Okay.
was watching his reaction when all the, the what is that called? The cameos. Well, all the cameos
Yeah.
came out in Wishmaster, and also I showed him Sugar Hill. So yeah, we were just showing movies back and forth. He was showing you showed me Demons that day. I
Demons.
loved it. I never saw Demons before that
Great.
day. So we were just doing trade for trade. But I did show him more movies than he showed me movies. I just like in this one, and you got to see this one because you love demonic possession. You didn't see Abby, what? Or you didn't see Black Zombies and Sugar Hill, what? Like you got to see
It's
that.
crazy.
All right. So
Crazy.
all right. So let me. I'm coming to you now for Abby. I'm coming to you, sir. But I'm gonna say this about Abby. I saw it for the first time last year on another movie swap. My boy, Big Chris, aka Floyd House Flicks, he introduced me to Abby, and I liked it, but I think I liked it for the wrong reasons because I was kind of laughing at a lot of it. So so that brings me to you because I've heard you say that's a movie that you would like to get the rights to and remake it. So I got that part of the answer. What you gonna do with it when you get it? What's your vision for Abby?
You know what? I feel like just watching the film, especially for the first time, and just seeing how well crafted the story was. It wasn't necessarily the biggest budget, but it's like, we all know the story of like the WB, shutting it down and all this stuff, and then it being hard to find. Like I ended up getting a copy of it on eBay, but I feel like I could, especially with a budget, uplift a lot of those horror elements, and also, just it's a dope thing to be able to put a black woman, to the forefront of a subgenre that they're not always represented in, because a lot of times we see if it's a demonic possession movie, they're a side character, or it's something in the background, but rarely do you get to see one of them at the forefront and be the main character and then have all this commentary, as far as you know stereotypes of how women should be, because when you look at the movie, it's like you look at certain elements, it's like she's kind of like the anti, you know, of what when she's in possession form, just exactly anti of everything that a quote unquote housewife is supposed to be, especially in the 70s. So it would be nice to see that come to fruition. I don't know. I just want to turn the horror elements up, and I just there's something I love when I see like a Angela Bassett when
Yeah.
she had the makeup on in Vampire in Brooklyn. Like it's just something about a black woman in demonic possession makeup or vampire makeup. It's just kick
Okay.
ass.
All right. All right. My last question before we go to the chat is about what you guys have been doing a lot of recently on live streams that I've seen you on anyway. And I haven't watched much because I haven't watched much of what you guys are talking about. But the show is From. So since I haven't seen it, I have not seen the show at all. I'm a big movie person. I watch a lot of movies. The shows I watch is generally what I watch with my wife. She says, "Hey, let's watch this." I watch that. So why should I take some time and watch From?
Ooh, why should you know what? Um, why should you take some time and watch From? And shout out to Mika and Kira, Double Feature Podcast.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
know,
Hopefully they're here. They're usually here.
oh yeah,
Oh,
they
they
yeah they in the
are.
comment
Hey,
section. Shout out to
y'all.
them.
We
Shout out to
see you.
Holland. Shout out to Moody. Everybody. But From is definitely a show. I feel like if you liked Lost, it's a better version of Lost for me, especially for the horror community. From the first episode, it grabs you. I don't want to spoil anything, but from the first episode, it grabs you, and you're like, "Holy crap, I'm sold!" and it just takes you down this rabbit hole of questions and mystery and things like that. It's one of those shows that I feel like it's fun to watch by yourself, but it's better to watch with friends, or it's better to watch and discuss with friends your theories and just fall down the rabbit hole, whether it's, online or over the phone. I it's funny, I started talking with the horror community about it because Mika and Kara were the first ones who told me, like, you got to check it out. And I'm like, all right, I checked it out, loved it. But then I started seeing like the audience grow. Like I'm at the barbershop, my barber's talking about it. She's like, yeah, you seen this show from? I'm like, what? You watch it from? And just different people in my life. I'm like, oh, this is spreading like wildfire. So I feel like it's definite. If you're into mystery and you're into suspense and questions, like what the hell is going on here? If you're not scared to pull the map out and put it on the wall and be like, how is this connecting? Which
Okay.
actually, goes to, one of the movies that we're talking about tonight. If you're not afraid to do all that, then you need to fall down the rabbit hole
Okay. Okay. That
from.
sounds like a plan. I like that. Let's go ahead and check out, see who is hanging out with us so far. We got
It's the
Holland.
fam. We see y'all.
Holland's usually first in, one of the first in, and he is
Holland.
there. What's
Hey,
going on, Holland?
Holland.
And always right behind Holland or right in front of Holland is Adrian. What's going on, Adrian?
Hey,
Adrian.
Adrian. No, you didn't.
Adrian.
Huck is in the
Adrian.
house tonight. What's up, Huck?
Hey,
Huh.
Huck.
And Huck he's okay because I've talked to him through DMs, so I know that he's okay. But he's also in California. So for all my friends that are in
Oh.
California, much prayers and good vibes and everything go out to you guys dealing with those wildfires out there. Um, and yeah, we got people talking back and forth. And I'm just scrolling down. I'm skipping a lot of the pleasantries between each other just to see who else is here. My man Patrick is here. I haven't seen Patrick in a while. He says, Abby, holy cow. I remember that one. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, Patrick.
Steve Moody, just Moody, says, hello, Dell, Evils, Huck, and Mr. Oates.
Booty.
Hello.
And there's Double Feature Podcast, aka Mika
Of
and or Kira.
course.
The
How
family.
y'all
How y'all
doing?
doing?
And he gives you guys props. They give you guys props right off the bat. Great. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. And yeah, she's making sure you sell me. She said, send them on from. And she says, Jaleesa, we have to get you on from. So are you not watching from, Jaleesa?
No, it's
Oh,
so we do have some TV shows where we watch together and some we watch
yeah,
separate.
absolutely.
And From is one of them. He did try to show me the first episode, but it was a day where I think I worked more than 8 hours that day. I was already tired, so I didn't make it.
Hey,
I
yeah.
didn't make it, and I was like, you know what, I'm good. And plus, honestly, it's I'm gonna try again. Don't worry, y'all. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna make sure I wake up in the morning and try again.
If the vibe catch you though, the vibe gonna catch you. So I know, but I know what she does love is Interview with the Vampire. Which I have not seen, but she's
I
like, it's
haven't seen that one either,
one of the
actually.
best
I
things.
saw the movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up because I actually wrote it down
Oh,
of
okay.
how something. I feel like there's a relation between that,
Okay.
like
Okay.
a arc in that in the movie we're talking about.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Interesting.
Yes,
Here's my last guest, actually, before you guys. Tommy, aka
Tommy,
Bottle. What's going on, Tommy?
what's up?
I traumatized him a couple weeks back last month. I showed him. I saw the devil. So hopefully, it looks like he's forgiven me because he's here.
Yeah, my brother's been telling me about that one. I gotta check that one out. That's
Yeah,
on my
me
list.
too.
It
I want to
is.
see it.
It is. Can be a tough watch. Let's see that. It
Mm.
can be a tough watch. Mika says she hasn't seen the TV series for Interview with the Vampire either. Yeah.
Y'all don't know what y'all missing. Oh my
For the folks
gosh.
who've seen it, especially the folks in our circle, they love it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. It's one of those things will probably be in the summertime when I have some time off and just pick a few shows and start binging, and we'll see how that works out. All right, so now we get to the first movie of the night. What we're going to talk about, and I am going to turn it over to you guys to tell the good people out here what it is that you had me watch.
Wait, what do we have you watch? Which one did you choose?
I chose It's What's Inside,
It's
and
what's
I'm gonna let
inside.
him slide because he knows. He's
Yeah.
laughing at you. So,
No, I thought you knew. It was on the it was on the
No,
poster.
no.
Oh, okay.
What? Take it away.
go ahead.
It's what's inside. It's a mystery. I feel like, is it a psychological thriller or is
Oh,
it
that's the
a
one with the group.
yeah?
Oh, okay. Yep. Cool. I was like, I didn't see this, but it was the title that threw me off.
Gotcha.
But it is. I would say it is.
Okay. All right. So it's about a group of friends and they play this game, and this game is like no other game that you've ever played before. It's very
It's a terrible game.
it's a messy game. I'll say that it's a
Terrible.
messy game. I wouldn't play it.
Dramatic.
I wouldn't play it.
I wouldn't
You
either.
know.
Not on my birthday.
It's like bodies, but
It is not.
worse.
It is not.
Kind of
Do not bring that movie up to me. I told
kind
you
of
that.
was.
Mm-mm.
So we don't like bodies, bodies, bodies. Got it.
I love
I
bodies,
I
bodies,
like
bodies.
bodies as much as he likes the new Evil Dead.
Well,
For people who are not familiar, because I actually uh, went back and I was listening to your interview with KB again, and when you rank the Evil Dead movies, you rank Evil Dead Rise last. So this is just information for my friends who are watching. So not a fan of that. All right, so
Hated
um,
it.
for It's What's Inside, it's on Netflix right now. If anybody hasn't seen it, um, it is yeah, psychological thriller is about right. We got a group of friends. They're getting together. One of them is getting married. They were friends in college. This is a few years later, and they decided they're all going to get together, have this big party before he gets married. And at the party, one of the friends who's been estranged, who had some incident years ago, he shows up and he has this device and basically hooks everybody's head up to it. Gives her puts on these electrodes on everybody's head, turns the machine on, everybody freaks out, then tells them, okay, we can use this machine to switch bodies and we're gonna play a game based on that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like extreme Who Am I?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like Who Am I? And they basically switch bodies and no one knows who is who. And a lot of them are playing as if they are that person, but it's clear that there's somebody else. And so they use that time and that the body that they're in to do some things with that body that they would not normally be able to get away with if they were in their own body.
Absolutely, they absolutely do that. So when we first start the movie, we meet Shelby first and Cyrus, and and I have to ask, did you recognize Shelby from anything else?
I'm not sure. I think everybody was pretty much new to me, like fresh to me. I think I
Most
don't
of
know.
them were. Shelby was one that I recognized from a show a few years back called Star. Did you guys watch Star at all?
I watched Star. Okay, it's I didn't remember their faces. Sometimes I have a hard time remembering faces.
Yeah,
But
she was the
yeah.
younger sister. She was the younger
Yeah.
sister
Oh
in
yeah, yeah,
Star.
she was. She was. Yep, I remember.
Star.
Yeah,
I remember
they
that
left
show.
us on a cliffhanger, child. And he been
Yeah,
trying to put that little movie together for years, and he did not put that movie together. I don't know what happened, but they left us on a
yeah,
cliffhanger.
Damn.
yeah. It was a fun show. Um, All right. So anyway, we meet them first. They're having some relationship issues, and basically, there's no quality time in the relationship. Basically, between between the two of them, to put it lightly. Um, they show up at this party. What's your vibe with them before things jump off? What's your vibe with what's gonna happen with them?
For me, it was given they probably all deserve it. What was coming, because I felt like it was very. I'm not gonna say like stuck up, but it's just very like these people probably aren't the best people. You know, they probably aren't. And it kind of makes for a better film for me because I feel like when the stuff starts happening, everybody's got a little dirt on them. So, it makes it a little bit more, interesting. Gives it a little bit more seasoning.
I do love that you selected this film to watch, Dell, because it this also goes along with the movie that we watch a little bit because it plays on the trope of the fragility of the elite. The elite, the rich kids who love to have fun, they love to go all out and do dangerous things, but they have trouble maintaining the unity in the friends group.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Um, so in this friends group, we got all these people, and well, superficial question here. Maybe it's just me because, and I'm going to bring my wife back into this for a second. She didn't actually watch the movie with me, but she spotted this right away, even though I didn't. And Ruben is one of the characters in the movie, and when they switch bodies, finally the person that he switches with is one of the other characters. They're all white characters, and I honestly did not pick up on the fact that Ruben was black. Honestly, until the guy says, "Well, that means I can say the N word," and then I literally wrote a note. I was like, "Ruben's black," and then and so then I watched it. I rewatched the movie because I watched it twice just to make sure that I had my thoughts in order. And my wife kind of wandered in. She's not a horror fan or anything like that, and she just kind of wandered in and she's looking, and his name comes up, and she was kind of asking me, "Well, who's this and who's that and this that?" And I said, "Well, that's Ruben. He's doing it." "Oh, you mean the black guy?" And I was like, "How did you see that? I didn't see that. He didn't look black to me." But anyway, enough about me. So, are there any good people in this group?
No, not for me. Not for me. No one's, they're not like, demons or whatever, but,
Right.
yeah.
I I think that's the point of the how fragile elite friends groups are, especially in horror films. Like the friends group from season 4 of You, the friends group from prom night and I Know What You Did Last Summer. They always make a point to let you know that there is not one person necessarily in a group who's good, and usually everyone is good and bad, or there is no like race or competition of who's worse. There is no good and bad.
Hmm. 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 Okay, very fair. So now let's get to this game. My first question is, what else can the machine
What else can the machine
What else
I
can the
do?
end?
machine
Can
do?
could you still hear me? I'm sorry.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Um, so what happens the first time they get hooked up when they don't switch bodies? That's where I was really confused about after the fact because it was like, okay, so why didn't we switch that time? What else can this machine do, or did I miss something?
That's a good question. Did it do it? Because I do remember it having some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Like he hooks it up to him and he turns it on and everybody just kind of goes whoa, and then they turn it off. So I was like, what happened? Or that's why I'm asking, did I miss something somewhere?
Or did he flip? Did he switch with somebody
That's what I thought. Like I thought like at least two people switched and just didn't say anything.
Okay, that is very possible for this movie. That is for sure.
Yeah,
That
you never know.
no,
Yeah,
no,
that's
you never know.
yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that he switched, that he was working with, but at the beginning I thought he was working with somebody, on the just messing with everybody. Like this was their little game, from the beginning.
Okay. So you already both said you wouldn't play this game. I wouldn't play this game. Any amount of peer pressure going to make you play this game?
No, no amount of money, no amount of pressure. This is a bad idea.
Yeah, because it's like somebody get in my body and do something crazy, I gotta live with the consequences, and I'm.
Or not, you end up like the dude at the like he was stuck in that body and then he died. That was it. They would do
Yeah.
something stupid.
That's the crazy thing, Like I have no desire to be in anybody else's body either, Because at the end of the day, we don't know what they're going through. We don't know, how their stomach is set up and all that. So
How the stomach is.
yeah, I'm cool. I'm
that
cool.
that actually kind of comes into play later on with the whole peanut butter deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that actually does kind of come into play. Interesting point. Yeah. So we go through round one, and let's pretend that we all actually did decide. You know what? We're gonna play. We played round one. We had a good time. Are we making plans? Are we gonna play round two, or are we gonna be like Cyrus and not want to play round two? If you've already done it once, not doing it.
I think it depends on the high, because sometimes, like, it's one thing if you don't know what the feeling is or whatever, and you're just like, I'm good, I'm cool. But if you stepped, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why I don't want to play, because sometimes people, they do something and they get away with it, and then they're like, oh, now I'm addicted, now I know what this feels like, now I need to build my own machine. And then next thing you know, I'm swapping bodies with a fish or something, and it's like,
And have we
you know
learned nothing from Talk to Me? Don't do it again.
yeah.
You survived. You didn't end up like that dude at the beginning of the movie. Don't do it again. Just
I'm glad
don't.
you brought up Talk to Me because I got when he's well, every time he hooked up the machine. Really, I got Talk to Me vibes. Did you guys get that
Yeah,
from this
I
movie?
did. I absolutely did.
Most definitely.
Because they did possess each other's bodies. They just not demons.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I mean, the whole goal of the two movies is different, but I
Yes.
definitely got some vibes. Mika did see what's inside. She says it was a fun time. Really enjoyed the plot on this one.
Me too.
And did Holland see this? Holland said, I was hoping he wouldn't say it was like bodies, bodies, bodies.
It's a better, I'll say it's a way better, more
That's
well
right.
crafted movie than
That's right,
Bodies,
Double
Bodies,
Feature
Bodies.
Podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Me
said she couldn't
either.
stand it. Couldn't stand it. And then she said, mayhem ensues indeed when the game starts. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Only person I knew from the cast was Alicia Debnam Carey. She's talking about Star. And
Yeah.
that was the Star. That was the lead character. This was the little sister that's in this movie. And what's up, guys? Here, the caveman. What's going on, caveman? Says
Hey.
Okay,
so
man.
excited your series is returning. Thank you, I appreciate it. And he says, please hit the like. Go ahead, please hit the like. Hopefully,
Yes.
Mrs. Caveman is going to pop in here soon. She does. Very superficial people with really no redeeming qualities. I'm going to pause on that comment for a second because I want to ask that question about. I want Nikki. Is she a superficial person? Nikki was the blonde that Cyrus is in love with, and she's one that's got the big social media presence, and she's also always she's talking about how to use her social media platform to better the world. So is she being for real, or is she just as superficial as everybody else?
I mean, I think I mean, she could be well intentioned, but I feel like there's a lot of ego in there, you know. So
She's definitely superficial. She's a stereotypical like influencer, pretty much, who, she thinks that her influence can impact the world, but she's not using her influence in a way that would positively impact the world. Her content has nothing to do with helping anybody. It has nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with medicine or anything that would actually be positive for people who follow her. She's all about her, and I feel like deep down she wants people to be jealous of her. She wants people to it because it gives her pseudo confidence. And it's like pseudo confidence, like from the girl from American Beauty. She does not want to be ordinary. That was her biggest thing. Like she wants to be extraordinary. Without being seen as unique or extraordinary, you have nothing. So if no one is jealous of you, no one wants to follow you, no one wants to be like you or wear your clothes and all of that, then you don't have any reason to feel confident about yourself. And it exposes those internal conflicts of someone who is an influencer and genuinely believes that her influence can impact the world.
I like it. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a moment though, because
Yes.
if I'm Nikki, I hear all that and I say, you know what? If I put politics on my platform, if I put things showing me actually going out and doing the workout in the real world, nobody's gonna follow me. Then nobody hears my message. How,
Not not necessarily true because there are a lot of influencers who are political. They're not afraid to talk about social injustices. They're not afraid to put free Palestine on their social media and they still have millions of followers. They're not afraid to not take money from brands that are given to Project 2025. They still have millions of followers. They are still a millionaire. It has no impact on their money, their gain whatsoever. If anything, they gain a whole new following because they're still producing content in a way that is influencing people to want to watch them and follow them. Even if you don't necessarily agree with them, there are still a bunch of people that will still follow you just because they like what you do and they like that your name is Dell. They like that you got all these movies behind you because there are people who are like, well, I wish I had a collection like yours. So I'm going to watch this person because he has a movie collection that I admire. And it's the closest thing to them having a movie collection themselves without actually paying the money. So they will rather invest in you.
okay, okay, I like it. Anything to add or
I feel
disagree
like I
with?
got too deep for the intro. I've been drinking, y'all.
No, you good. You good. I love it. I love it.
I know you was flowing. You was flowing. I mean, I think it depends. It's very situational because I think sometimes like when you want to go into that political realm, it can be very divisive. Of course, there are people who put their put it out there and use it to spread whatever message. But I know that there's also like a line that people have to toe, I guess, because you don't want to be like grifting to where you're just like using a certain stance or platform just to try and make money off of people's pain or people's plight or people's suffering and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have to truly believe in whatever you are using your platform for. I mean, Eartha Kitt, they ran her off to Europe pretty much because of what she did when she went to the White House. And of course, they saw her, bombshell and she was Catwoman, but she was also about that life.
Yes.
She didn't care about, standing up for us, especially women who look like me, women who look like her, and all the struggles she went through as a child growing up and her parents and being black and dating black men or white men. Like she went through a lot of stuff that for me, it made sense as to why she said something so controversial in the White House, but they hated it and they just felt like, oh, well, you should just shut up and sing, I guess, if it sounds familiar. But they ran her
Yeah.
off to Europe, but she came right back, and she learned the language. She was speaking and singing in French, and we
Yes,
love that music.
yes.
We play it in the car.
That's
Anybody out there not familiar, please look up Eartha Kitt.
And she still came back. The people loved her.
Yeah, yeah, and just
Yes,
since you brought up her
yes.
name really quick, who plays Eartha Kitt in the biopic?
So, did you watch Girlfriends?
The show?
Yes.
Yes.
Monica.
Okay.
Monica, she tried out for it, and I heard that she's supposed to play Eartha Kitt.
Oh, interesting.
She can do the voice. She got but I feel like it got to be someone who can sing, someone who can dance, someone who is multi hyphenated, and someone with that. You got to do the voice.
they finna get
Gotta
Karuchi up
purr
there.
when you
No, they
talk.
not. Shut up. You heard what he said.
I didn't hear actually.
He said they finna get Karuchi up there.
Um,
No, they not. Shut up.
let's
They
not.
bet not. They bet not. But
Let's not.
that's the only one I could think of. The girl who played Monica from
No,
Girlfriends.
to keep it real, instead of Karuchi, they would probably try to throw like Zendaya in there. That's what they would probably
Oh Lord, I love her, but no.
That's what they would
Immediately
try to do.
no.
Corey is here. What's going on, Corey? He's just listening along on my
Hey,
drive.
Ooh,
Thank you,
what's
great.
Corey, for
up?
listening. I appreciate that. And K-Man said 8 watching, 6 likes. Please hit the like button. Just yeah, go ahead and hit that like button for me. Let's see if anybody else has got anything to say about the movie. Mika says it gets really confusing. You have to really follow it. All right, so I read it before I was up there, but yeah, that's what she said. It gets really confusing. You have to really follow it. So let's go ahead and get back to that. Uh, the movie employs a trick to kind of help us. They give us this red filter. What do you think about this red filter?
I loved it.
Yeah, especially because when we first met and we started watching movies together, Jaleesa pointed out to me color psychology in film. So I started like looking at certain films differently, like than I would look at them before, and I'd be like, "Oh, this color is because of this happened, and this color is because that's happened." And so I always dig when they employ that, which they did employ a little bit of that in the other film we're talking about tonight as well. You know.
Yeah, they the red filter, it helped because it was a little bit hard for me to follow who was who. But they put that Kill Bill filter on, and when I see red, I don't immediately think anger unless there is, intent. But I think of passion, and it seemed like everybody who jumped into different bodies, there was some type of passion behind it. Whether you always wanted to get with her, or you always wanted to sleep with him, or you want to see what it's like to be this person. They a freaky group, but I feel like
Yeah,
all those friends groups are usually freaky. Like it's usually
yeah,
they
yeah.
be sharing.
Now, now it wasn't a harsh red either. It was kind of a softer red. So yeah, I didn't think anger either when they used it. Now I will let it slide here. I'll get more into it later, but I will let it slide here. I was not the hugest fan of this. Um, you said it was kind of hard for you to follow, and I wanted it to be hard to follow. I didn't want you to tell me who they were, or just by what they're doing, I could probably figure it out. But I wanted to figure it out. So that was one of my issues with the movie in general, but with the filter in particular.
So I do have a quick question for you, Del. So do you like not being able to figure out something until the very end of the movie?
Yeah, I do. I
Okay,
do.
I do have a suggestion for you then.
Okay,
Coherence, if you haven't seen it.
I have not seen it.
Watch it. Don't be under the influence at all. It was a mistake when I did that. I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I gotta sober up and watch this movie. Wait a
I
minute.
I try
Coherence.
to go into movies cold. It's not always possible, but I try. So I will keep that in mind. Coherence. Matter of
It,
fact, I'm gonna write that down
yes, I
now.
think it's on
Get it?
Peacock. I watched it on Peacock, I think.
Yes on
It's on
Peacock.
Peacock.
Yeah.
Coherence. It was I was blown away, but it's one of those. Wait a minute, what is happening through the entire film?
Yep. Well, Steve's talking to Caveman. He says, "Yeah, my first name is Steve. YouTube is full of Steves. It sure is. So to simplify things, I'm just moody now. It absolutely is full of Steves for sure. Miss Caveman is in here somewhere. I jumped over her somehow. There she is. Hey, Miss Caveman.
Hey,
Says Heidi. Everyone. Always good to see the Caveman family here." And just scrolling down real quick to see if anybody else is saying anything about the movie or if there anyone new here. And oh yeah, we talking about Nikki. She says yes, her helping others is all about the optics.
mm-hmm.
That's very fair. And yes, so true, Jaleesa. There are still people who stand true in their convictions and give us great content.
Yes.
And
Otherwise, why do you really want the influence? For power, for money, or something superficial? What is the point?
I heard you was misusing your influence.
all right. We might have to keep the in jokes to you guys. I don't know. All right. So, question, and we didn't answer it. So I'll go ahead and answer it here. Is the red filter used the same way they did in the Sixth Sense? So, Caveman, the red filter here we mentioned. This is a movie about switching bodies. So basically, after people have switched bodies, they throw on the red filter for the audience from time to time to show you who is the actual person inside the body, so that you know who is who. So that's the way they use it here. Coherence is one we've wanted to see, and Coherence 2013 is actually on Prime currently. Okay,
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, It's on Prime.
okay, so I will definitely check it out then because I have Prime. I do not have Peacock, so that is good to note. All right, so we got past the filter. Things are going awry eventually. We mentioned some people are hooking up, some people are arguing back and forth, and others are just getting high and having a good time. Is what do you think of Cyrus? Cyrus is Shelby's boyfriend. We're gonna get to the really going awry in a minute. But what do you think of Cyrus? He's the boyfriend, and yeah, he encouraged Shelby to go at the beginning, encouraged her to play the game when they brought up the game, and then once she got into the game and enjoyed it, suddenly he didn't like the game anymore. He didn't want to play, but he played it anyway. And we find out, of course, he's got this thing for Nikki. So I'll let you guys go ahead and talk it up about Cyrus.
Play stupid games. You win stupid prizes.
Amen.
And you dude, it's just like the dude, the boyfriend and ex, Jenna Ortega's boyfriend. Was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we're just filming a movie. Everything's
Yeah.
cool. Then when she want to jump in the movie, it's like,
Now it's a problem.
Oh,
mm-mm.
No, I agree. I couldn't have said it better than that. Like
I feel like it's a man thing. A lot of times men be doing that shit.
I don't. I think boys,
Yeah, boys.
you
Yeah.
emotionally immature, and first of all, it seemed like he didn't like her like that. He's just you're just there, and you're using her as like a buffer so you could see your crush or whatever, which is foul. Like first of all, that's foul. So I immediately didn't like him when I saw him. I was like, ugh, you should not go. But I'm glad she went because at least he got exposed. And even with the drive of the story, it just, he couldn't hide from that anymore. She got to see the truth. And maybe that was the only way she would have been able to see the truth. Because if you with someone that long, you don't see the signs, the how he speaks to you, the body language, all of that. You just ignoring that. But it takes for you to switch bodies with someone and he switched bodies and he don't necessarily get what he want out of it, but at least you get to see who he really is. It's weird because it's like you're supposed to see people for who they are in the bodies that they are. The bodies that they're in. But in this movie, you see them for what they really are in other people's bodies. Like it's like The Circle or the show you watch, Big Brother. Like, what would you really say if you were anonymous? And would you be a master of chaos? Would you throw a monkey wrench in it? Because that's who you really are. You're not this person who's the peacemaker. You're a master of chaos. If no one knew it was you, you would do that because that's who you really are.
The troll.
Master of chaos.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, the puppet master is the other guy we spent a lot of time with. Forbes. Forbes is the puppet master here. Kind of, he's pulling a lot of strings and moving all the pieces around the board, so to speak. Um, w- did you? We're gonna give. I mean, spoiling is perfectly fine. I'll throw up a spoiler thing. But any inkling as to what was going on with him before we got to the end for either of you? First time you watched it.
No, I was actually surprised at the end, and I was like, oh, this y'all. I mean,
Yeah.
because I'm already doing mental gymnastics trying to follow what the hell going on, as far as who's in whose body. But during when that reveal happened, I was like, oh, I did not. Y'all did that.
Didn't
Y'all
see
did
it
that.
coming at all.
No, no, no. So I will definitely grant the movie that it was yeah, didn't see that coming. Not at all. All right, so finally things go awry. So we get to the second round. We mentioned characters hooking up, and two of our friends decide to go on the roof. And I wrote down as soon as he said, "Hey, you ever seen the roof?" I said, "Bad idea." As soon as he said, Why? This house is massive. There are bedrooms everywhere. Why are we going on the roof? They go on the roof, and here's where I'm actually gonna go ahead and pull up some spoiler alerts. So for anybody who has not seen it, if you want to mute us or go away and come back, you can do that. If you don't mind it being spoiled, more power to you. So the spoiler part is here. Two of the characters, they go up to the roof. They try to get some sexy time in, and they're leaning on the rail of it, which is actually looks like concrete, but it's cracked. Push it over and fall down. And when it first happened, I was like, I know they're dead, but it wasn't high enough for them to be dead. And then I forgot that the statue that they fell into, there was all
Hmm.
sharp, pointy arrows out of it. So yeah, they're dead as doornails. And at that point, what if you're one of the remaining people? First off, we got two people who are stuck in a body because their own body died. What do you think the next plan of action should be?
Hide, preserve your own body because people are just gonna be, you don't want to get gripped up by three, people who are panicking and all that stuff, and just they start to put that game on again. So I'm hiding. I'm hiding myself in. I'm hiding under somebody's bed somewhere.
Is this a scenario where are we in a different person's body and our
Yeah,
original bodies died?
play the game. It's round two. Everybody switched bodies, and we got the same thing happens. Two people have passed away, so we got two people who are without their own body, but they're stuck in another body, and something's got to happen. What do you think should be next?
I'm gonna be the master of chaos. I'll be like, I lied, y'all. I'm not who I said I was. I'm not gonna hide because they're gonna like. I think they were arguing about, well, we should switch.
Right.
I'm like, how would they know? How would they know? Like, you don't know. If I'm in the body, I guess, and I like it, I kind of like it, then whoever, they're gonna want they body back. I don't know. They're gonna think maybe they're entitled to that body
Yeah.
or whatever. Oh no, I'm gonna pretend that I'm actually somebody else. It screwed the whole thing up. I'm not gonna hide because they're gonna look for you.
Yeah, I'm running. I'm running. I mean, they gonna look for me, but at the end of the day, they got it's like It's like the old scenario where it's like, six people got a gun. They're sitting around a table, who survives? And one person, doesn't have a gun. Who survives is the person without the gun because the person without the gun is trying to get the hell out of there while everybody else is pulling the guns on each other. So,
But what if that wasn't an option? Because this movie took place in that house. So if there's nowhere to run and like there's nowhere to hide, what do you do?
pick up a weapon. It really
You gonna
depends.
go slasher on them?
It really depends if I want to stick in the body or do I want.
They want your body because their body gone, and maybe your body is more beneficial to them. They don't want you to have it.
Pick up a weapon and hide in a corner. It may not be.
It don't have to be violent. Like you could just pretend to be somebody else.
I'm a man. That's where we go. Straight to
Animal
violence.
instinct, right?
Straight to violence.
They ain't even gotta be all that.
You know what though? I might be with you because it's like, okay, if once this happened, I know all hell is about to break loose. We protect yourself at all costs at this point. So that would be my first instinct. Not saying that that's the right course of action,
No.
but that would be my first thought. It's like, oh, it's about to go down. We got to we got to find something. We got to find something. I done been in bad situations. Something got to happen. So I get it. I totally understand. All right. So what they do is they, like you said, they argue, they bicker back and forth about who should switch back to this and who's going to take the rap for all of this. And of course, they agree it's going to be Forbes. And eventually, we find out it's not going to be Forbes. It's going to be Cyrus because Cyrus is stuck in Forbes' body. And my whole thing, you brought up the elites earlier. First off, the cops coming. How long are they going to be? How long till they're here? Oh, about 30 minutes. Well, 30 minutes for the cops to get here. This looks like a too rich a place for cops to take 30 minutes to get to. That was my first
Hmm.
thought. And then later on in the movie, when they actually do arrive, we get the line that the cops are down the driveway. I don't know about you. My driveway ain't that long. They could be down the driveway and not there. So that was all. That was all interesting. Um, is there a character here that you would most identify with what they actually did?
Uh,
No.
I mean, if I'm like my Joker side or whatever, maybe Forbes, but that's about it. You know,
Closest one, the sister.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who? Yeah.
She fooled them.
Yeah. She blew through. Eventually, well, we find out
Hmm.
not really her, but she blew through the movie like a storm. At the end of the movie. That is for sure. I'm gonna go one last time through the chat before I give my final thoughts on the movie, and then
Hmm.
we'll move on to the second film. And the question is for you guys because I'm just drinking water. What libations are you all drinking tonight?
Well, I got the Snoop Dogg wine in my cup.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I've got water in my cup. I had a little. I did a little gardening earlier, but I've got water in my cup right now.
All right. Twins joined in. They as usual drinking tea. So I got a
Hmm.
question for you, Mika. If you could put it in the chat, what kind of tea? Because you guys are known for all sorts of teas. So what kind of tea tonight? All right.
Yes, yes.
The desperation was in full effect after their body was gone. Yeah, as it should be, no doubt. Yeah, it took forever for those cops to come.
Yeah.
And it's just one property, and it's like y'all got money, so why are you taking so long to get up there? It just don't make no.
Who knew there was an unlocked character in the mix the whole time?
Yeah, unlocked. I like that. So All right, so we've reached the part where I'm going to give my final verdict on this particular movie. And of course, for anybody who's just joining us, is the movie's called "It's What's Inside," 2024 movie on Netflix right now. And my final verdict, though, you've elevated my opinion of it a bit. I will say that I'm not a big fan of this movie whatsoever. And the reason kind of goes back to what I was talking about before is it spent so much time explaining it to me. They just kept explaining everything to me, starting with the filter, but then all through the movie there were these big breaks where we had all this exposition. Just here, this is what you missed, and I don't know if you guys saw this last. I think it was last week. Netflix story broke about Netflix where they basically instructed filmmakers, "Hey, have your characters kind of announce what's going on or what they're doing because we know the movie's going to be playing in the background. So
Yes.
they're listening, it'll get their attention. They'll come to the screen." And this kind of reeked of that for me. It's like, oh, can you please stop telling me things? I want to figure things out. I want to figure something out. Or if you're gonna do it, if you, I mean, I get it. You got to tell me some things along the way, but you don't have to tell me everything. And one of those things I talked about was the red filter. The other thing wasn't so bad because it was at least fun to look at, and that's where they did all the when they did the flashbacks to the birthday party, and they put up the different uh, not picture. Well, they changed the picture every time somebody was speaking about what was happening. And I thought that was cool, but it was still at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, okay, you guys are just telling me everything. And by the end of the movie, the one thing they didn't tell me was the twist we get with Forbes and his sister, and I really did enjoy that. So I don't hate the movie. It's just not one that I'm going to be like, okay, you know what, I gotta watch that again because it's just like somebody standing there just telling me, hey, this is going to happen next, or that just happened. Now watch this. So and that kind of took some enjoyment out of it for me. So
Oh
that's
yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's where I am. And we're gonna move on to the second movie. I'm gonna say don't hold that against my movie. Um, but we will see because you made a comment earlier before we even started talking about movies. I'm gonna bring it up later, but the comment made me curious, more curious as to how you're going to feel about my movie. And we are on to movie number two here. What's my movie? It is this one here. It is Happy Birthday to Me. And this is from 1981. So a long, long, long time ago. Yes, I'm guessing you're laughing at the picture on the front, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. And in this movie, we meet Virginia, aka Ginny. She is a student at, I don't know if it's a full blown college or if this is a school that goes from K to college or what's going on with that. But anyway, she is an adult. She's part of a group they call themselves the top 10. So we're more again in that uh, elitism here happening, just like with the last movie, and a group of friends. And uh, they spend a lot of their time just hanging out at the pub, getting drunk, and just kind of being goofy. And sure enough, they all start dying one by one, and we got to figure out who is responsible for this. And right at the opening, now I know this movie is 43, 44, going on 44 years old now. So how did this setup hold up to something a little more modern? Just the opening couple of scenes there with my boy Winston the dog, and then the actual murder that happens right at the beginning.
What'd you think of the intro?
Um, well, I wanted to hear what you thought about the intro.
I loved it. I thought
Yeah.
it was, I mean, in general, the whole film I thought was shot very well, but I really dug the intro, especially.
It reminded me of Friday the 13th.
Yeah, yeah, but better because
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, it was
That hurts
definitely.
a little bit, but go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Hot take. Hot take. Yeah. But yeah,
He's like, better.
but yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was shot very well, and the kill, it was definitely on point.
The girl at the beginning was making me mad. Girl, run, stand up. Like she would just, and then would do a 360 around the corner and then would stand there. And then do another 360 and then she's around the corner again. And I'm like, run if you don't run, run. You can run.
I will say she
Girl.
made one really good move. She made one really good move when she let her body go limp after she was being choked. She let her body go limp in the car, and then once she let her go, she
Yes.
took off. But yeah, then she kind of did what you were talking about.
She had like .5 heel. They not that high. They weren't high heel shoes. You could have ran or you could have took your shoes off. Someone's trying to kill you.
Yeah, she should have.
Why is you stopping?
Should have
Ho,
took
is
them
you
shoes.
crazy?
Should have took them off.
I know. She was wearing stockings. What? You could have ran. You could have ran. And why are you walking that late at night? But I will say I did like that she did that move in the core.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, that was smart. That was smart. That just the dumbest thing that she did was she did not keep running.
Right. She did not keep running. Yeah. You mentioned Friday the 13th for the setup, and um, this is definitely 1 year after Friday the 13th. So Friday the 13th had kind of came into the mainstream. If you're familiar with the fact that that itself was a ripoff of Halloween, and then everything after Friday the 13th ripped off Friday the 13th. And this was definitely right in that era where everything was trying to be Friday the 13th. So yeah, definitely got those Friday the 13th vibes. Um, and really throughout the whole movie, every time there was a kill scene for most of the movie.
Yeah. You get that feeling. I did enjoy the kills.
Yeah,
Kills
the
were pretty
kills
good.
were
Kills
very
were pretty
fun.
good. The top 10. How do they compare to our friends from the last movie?
I feel like we always have those arcs where it's the same. You have the jock, you have the best friend of the jock, you have the promiscuous and or flirtatious girl who get around the group, and then you have the shy one, like very Breakfast Club, and then you got the nerd. You got the nerd, and I don't appreciate how they did my man Alfred. He deserves so much better. He deserved a better kill. He deserved to live longer. All of them were they didn't he didn't deserve that. Okay, like I didn't like how they made him look crazy, and which I feel like was the stereotype during that time of nerds, like especially if they're quiet. And he had that mouse with him, and I was like I was curious as to how he was even in this group, but it's because he probably his family has money or whatever. But I couldn't tell from his home, so I was just like, how is he in this group in the first place?
Yeah. I mean, it's always somebody. It's always somebody in the group, but
Justice for Alfred.
I think this group, the top 10, were I think more on the nose as far as stereotypes versus the people in the previous movie, where I feel like in It's What's Inside, it was more like we're not stereotypes, but we kind of are. Like, I'm not this, but I kind of am. Versus Happy Birthday to Me, which was very on the nose. Like everybody was, it just was. There was no escaping, the tropes in this one.
Okay. And yeah, that might be a function of the time period also for
Yeah.
sure. Um, that definitely everybody was a trope. You talked about Alfred, and next to Alfred's name, because I was kind of taking some notes for this one too, even though I've seen it a lot, but I wrote down Captain Red Herring. They went so hard to make you think that Alfred was our guy. And was there any point where you actually felt like he was?
Nope.
I did. I did. When this motherfucker when he walked her in the room with the head, and I was like, damn. 'Cause I believed the whole scene, and then she was like, that's a fake head. And I'm like, damn, damn, he would have got me. It made it even more creepy because what the hell you doing with a fake head?
But that's why I didn't think it was him, because they were trying so hard at such an early stage of the movie for to I just don't like their stereotype of the quiet nerd with the circular glasses and the dark hair and the hat, and he's into something that maybe a lot of people can't do. He's very talented, but I can't stand that trope. And it's like, it gotta be him as always the quiet ones, because we grow up, right? And we end up getting those stereotypes placed on us all because of, movies like that, like people like Alfred. And I know it tells me no one in the writer's room or possibly behind the camera is a nerd. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. That is not what a nerd is. We're not quiet and creepy and we always into some sick shit and it's probably us, and we are as guilty as sin from the very beginning. I got personal.
No, no, that's perfectly fine. And with his character, one of the things I picked up on this time um, was influences. Again, we go back to Friday the 13th for some things,
Mhm.
and for him, it was one they played on prom night. Had the nerd character wind up being the original prom night. Had the nerd character being the one that wound up doing it, which was like just before this. I think that was 1980 also. And then of course there was the Norman Bates
Psycho.
influences. Yeah, yeah. Especially when you walk in his room, and he's got all these stuffed animals all over the wall, and not fuzzy, cuddly stuffed animals. He's got the ones that have been dead and stuffed. Um, so yeah, I definitely picked up on those vibes from him. They actually he wasn't the only red herring though. They threw a few of them at us, and another one was Rudy. Rudy was the next biggest red herring, I should say. What do you guys think of Rudy? He was the one that was kept playing the pranks, and he eventually wound up at the bell in the bell tower, cutting the rope, and that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was creeping me out, but he didn't sell it to me, like the other one did. I think that especially that I think that they were doing a little bit too much with his character, like the bell tower scene, and then there's also a scene where he's like, I don't know how the hell he got up there, but he jumped down from some. I'm like, how the hell
The
did you?
library.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
how did like it was just so like what? And like I know this is 81, but I'm like, y'all were doing a whole lot with this character. And why would he be up there? He's just and it's not the girl does it's like the girl don't even react to it. She's just like, oh hey, and it's just like what? So that kind of took me. That was a moment that kind of took me out of the movie. I'm like, yo, this, what is up with this? Who wrote this? That was a moment that made me, yeah. Because it's like obvious this person would fall from the angle that he was hanging from, and it's like what, like how, and then he falls and then he gets back up and just like it's nothing, like you just fell from the top shelf or the top balcony of this library, like what the hell's going on. The 80s were wild. The 80s were wild.
That's true. I can attest to the fact that the '80s were very wild. That's for sure. All right. Another one is, well, not necessarily red herring because we're moving off of that. Well, before I get to the other thing I was going to just mention, I just remembered that there's also a game in this movie. So there was a game in the first movie where they were switching bodies. This game pretty dangerous also. where they have to try to make it over the drawbridge as it is rising up. How many drinks for you decide you know what, this is a good idea?
No, only to only I would
No.
have to be running from something gigantic or lava, in some Dante's Inferno type scenario. I would have to be running from, volcanic lava, Godzilla, or, the headless horseman. I would have to be Ichabod Crane, about to hop over the bridge. That's the only way you get me to drive over a bridge, or I'm rescuing my wife from a pack of zombies or something. Maybe,
Oh,
but
you
yeah,
got to get applause for that one. You got to get applause for that.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Especially if you were fifth or whatever the last person was. No, ain't no way. First, all right, maybe, but last, no, definitely not. But that bridge did play into the plot. We kept winding up, flashing back to the things that happened on this bridge. Did you pick up on what might have happened beforehand, or were you surprised when you found out?
I was surprised. I mean, it made sense when it all came together, but I was surprised. And it definitely made sense, especially because like I don't want to get into we'll get into it later, but it made sense when it all came together.
What I thought happened was I thought the kids had something to do with that in particular. I thought it was like a situation where maybe they were trying to run the car off or something, and Jenny was in the car and had to make that jump, or whoever she was in the car with had to make that jump because they were running away from them. That's what I thought happened. Like I thought the kids directly had something to do with that jump.
Okay, okay, and that would definitely make sense. That's for sure. And then we get the flashbacks to her in surgery and all kinds of things like that. How do you think those scenes were handled? Do you like those scenes or no?
They were cartoonish. He was like, "Oh no, the brain." It was just like, and she was just there or whatever. Like during those scenes, I was like, it was very cartoonish. But we did get the point. We did, they were trying to. I mean, that was a red herring within itself. To me,
Yeah.
they were. Whenever I see a movie where they're letting us know that this person has brain traumatic injury, or they had brain surgery, or they hit their head, a concussion. Anytime that happens in a film, I think psychological. They're letting me know not to trust this character and their memories. Don't trust what they see. Don't trust what they're thinking. Don't trust anything that they are trying to recall. Don't trust it. Like Black Swan. You can't trust what she's thinking or what she's seeing.
Yes.
It's in psychological thriller and horror. It's the distinction between perception and reality. We could be watching their personified disorder. We could be watching their repressed memories, their repressed trauma. And in this case, we were watching her repressed memories. We were watching her trauma, but also she's trying to gain her memory back. And I'm like, okay, so even though this is the central character in this film, they're letting me know because of this brain surgery not to trust what she's thinking or what she's seeing.
Yeah, she caught on to that as soon as they dropped it because I would have just rolled with it and just been like, "Oh, she
No.
got brain surgery, like everything's fine."
And now I get to it, no, everything's not fine when someone has brain surgery and they're trying to remember an accident like that. Oh, I also thought, I was like, I know they didn't put the mom's brain in her or something. Like that's what I thought
Oh yeah,
also.
you
Yeah,
went a whole other step.
yeah, only because I didn't like how inappropriate the dad was with her.
Yeah.
Like when she came into the house, like after that whole jump or whatever, and she went to visit the mom's gravesite, which is oddly placed right there.
Yeah.
He was like, "No, I told you not to go and visit." And he was just like, like he was just a little, like it
Okay.
was very inappropriate. And I was like, "Is that your wife, like, and your daughter or something? Like, did y'all do something crazy with that? Because
Now,
y'all trying to sell me on this brain surgery thing." So that's what I thought also.
okay, I've never looked at that scene that way. Okay, interesting though. Interesting.
But I always knew who did it. He knows. He knows. I always knew who did it
Ooh, okay,
from the beginning.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yes.
The person who played Jenny though, again, we had a star of a TV show in the first movie. We actually have one in this movie. Also, the person who plays Jenny, and this is where my age comes through. She was the main character, or one of the main characters on Little House on the Prairie, way
Yes.
way back in the day. So
Yes.
this was a for I saw this movie. Well, it came out in '81. I think I saw it maybe in '82 or '83. So I was 12 or 13. So getting to see her in something completely different from Little House was a shock in and of itself. And then when she starts getting ready for the shower scene, 13-year-old me was like, "Holy cow! Wait, what's going to happen?" That didn't happen, but I do want to mention. I only mention that not here. Well, one because of that story, but two, she was doing a lot to actually get in the shower. I mean, she had the robe on, and she was kind of taking things off, but putting the robe on at the same time, and then moving things. I was like, what? Who does all this to go get in the shower? But anyway,
And showing my age, she was also Snowbird in X-Men, the original animated series. She was Snowbird.
see that I did not know. I know the show, but I didn't know that that was her.
Yep.
Okay. Very cool. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and at least
Yeah.
listen to the show again. All right. So and no, so the part I mentioned that you said earlier, before we even started talking about movies, where you started talking about acting. What did you think of the acting here?
Um, I mean, it was okay. It was okay. It was good enough. It was good enough for me to especially get through it. Not get through it, but like we were. I was okay. So the person who did do it, not to spoil anything until we get to the end of it, but it was her acting for me, honestly, that gave it away. It wasn't so much of the story, it was her decision to make the micro facial expressions during the scenes where she was supposed to be perceived as innocent. I told you, like, I was like, oh, it was a girl, and oh, it was her. I don't care about this. We know it was her. But I want to know what the deal with this brain surgery is. That isn't that what I said from the beginning of the movie? I was like, we know it's her, but what's the deal with the brain surgery? What's going on with that? Like, am I supposed to, So I knew it was her.
Okay. So when she told you this, did you did you
What?
go along with it, or did you like, nah, it's not her?
I mean, at this point, it's been over 8 years with this lady, so I
So
just,
you knew.
I just, I just know to go with whatever she say at this point. If she say that's who did it, that's probably who did it. Like I can still have my own suspicion, which I did, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. At the end of the day, the day go in. You know.
That is very true. Very true. Uh, Mika said, "Happy birthday to me" is one she has to see, and Smirk has joined good
Hey,
evening.
Smirk.
Smirk.
And our favorite Superman, Cal L. Daly, has also joined. What's going on, Cal?
Hello.
Hey.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty then with these spoilers. All right, so we really Alfred's death is one that sets it up. You know what? Before we get to spoilers, really quick. So we talked about the kills real quick. Favorite kill?
Shish kebab.
Shish kebab. There we go. And I'll show it again once again. I am also kind of partial only because as a kid, it really, as a kid, it was like, oh my God, that's so great. But as an adult watching it, it's like, you could have prevented this. And this was the weightlifting kill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
So
did enjoy that one too.
I enjoyed it, but it took so long.
Yes.
For anybody out there, again, we're in spoiler territory, but what happens is we got one of the jockeys lifting weights, and someone walks into the room, and he's like, you know what? Slap 10 more pounds on there, and they put some more weight, and he's like, that's not enough. Put some more on there, and they put more on than he asked for, and then he's got the weights up, and he's struggling, and they move the bench back where he could put the weights back. They move it back out of the way, and then they drop some weights right on his crotch to make him drop the weights. But it all takes so long, and he's training with these weights. I'm like, dude, throw him back,
Yes.
throw him forward,
Throw 'em on
just
the
throw him,
ground.
get him out of there. What are you doing? But it was still a fun kill. At the end of the day, but Alfred's death is the one that kind of sets everything off because it's the first time we see a killer's face during that time, and we see Jenny's face
Yes.
when that happens. Did that deter you at all from your observation or your thought that it was someone else?
You know, that's when I was like, okay, I'm I'm all in. The chips are all in at that point, you know.
I have to be honest, Dell. I was like, no, stupid, stupid.
Yeah.
This is stupid. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing the, oh, I had brain surgery and now I'm a homicidal maniac. It's me and I don't remember. No, we're not doing this. Like I was yelling.
She was. She was.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we get past that. I mean, one thing that happens in this movie. So eventually, we go inside the house, and we get another episode, really, and we that's playing into your fears because she's in the house and she's about to take another shower. And for anybody out there to know, you don't see anything, so relax. But she starts freaking out because she sees looks like Bernadette in the tub, and looks like it's full of blood. And she's screaming all over the place. She calls a psychologist over, and then we move on, and her dad comes in, and dad gets it bad, and then we get to the birthday party scene. One staple of 80s horror that's it's not so bad anymore, but it kind of endured, is that when the killer kills somebody, they move the body. And in this movie, at least there was a purpose to it. Though I will go back to the weightlifting scene for one thing. Uh, they did an amazing job cleaning up behind this kill, because
Yeah.
the next person came in, and this is a carpet that was full of blood a little while ago, and it is not a spot anywhere. So
Spick
you
and
know,
span.
I need them to come over and show me what they did.
No, you
But
don't.
that's true. That's true. But so yeah, we got this birthday party set up. Are you still with the movie? You checked out again still?
I'm still with the movie, you
Yeah,
know.
we were still watching it, but I was like, oh, I know we're not doing this. I know we're not like I was still like, oh, like thinking it was her, doing the whole is she, the protagonist and the villain? She just don't remember. Only because I hate and despise tropes like that. They have dissociative identity disorder or, their other personality did it. I despise it. But yeah, I was still with it, and I was like, "Oh, well, how long is this movie?" And he was like, "Yeah, is this long?" I was like, "Okay, there's still more to it." So we still don't know at that point what happened with the car, like with the mom. We didn't get to that point, but I
Right.
was still like, I know it wasn't her, right? We're not gonna say that, right? She just don't remember.
Right, right. And when we do find out about my mom, I mean, she has an epic crash out because her child's not invited to this birthday party, and then we get the whole accident with the drawbridge and all that stuff plays out. And when Dad finally comes home before he gets killed, I mean, we see this birthday party set up, which is probably the most iconic scene in the movie. Is just looking at this table full of all these bodies, and I I will say this: I thought that part, makeup wise, effects wise, held up really well
Hmm.
for to be 40 some odd years old. And I thought that held up really well. But then, we turn around and we see that, well, after gets killed by what we think is Jenny, but then Jenny is now sitting. They turn a body around, and it is Jenny sitting at the table. Where are you then?
Well, first, I want to go a little bit back.
Sure.
So, first of all, you mentioned the mother. And, like
Yeah.
at this point, we see what happened with Jenny's mother. And I was like, yes. So we have the toxic maternal figure, i.e., Jason's mom, Carrie's mom. Like
Gary.
we gotta have a toxic mother figure in their, and whatever their intentions are, or whatever they want so badly ends up being their fatal flaw in the story, or causing the downfall or demise of the family as a unit. And this is no different. Jenny's mother was an elitist as well. She so much believed in status and power and felt entitled to it. And it inevitably drove her into the downfall of that. She didn't have to go that far. It stopped becoming about her birthday. It stopped becoming about her daughter. It was about her. But I also think the what led to that crash out in the first place was the negligent father, like the absence of the father. Like, I blame the men in this film. All the women went batshit crazy because of, like, the dad wasn't even at the birthday party. Oh, honey, I'm well, but all right, my bad. Like, you still not here?
A year
Still?
later, because you could have came like a couple days
Like,
after.
how was you here? No, you're not here. And then we come to find out that, yes, with going to the birthday party, so leading up to that scene, I was like, oh, this is like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Oh, it's not that. So this is Scream 1 and Scream 3. Oh, wait, it's not that? No, this is like, is this like Pearl? And then when we get to the birthday party, I was like, it is like Pearl. And then because of those bodies at the table, and I was like, it is Pearl. Lord, it's Pearl. But then when we see Jenny's real face, and I was like, oh, no. And I was like, this don't make no damn sense. There was no twins. You never mentioned another girl. We're not doing that. We're not doing the whole, oh, she was in the back seat thing and we just didn't see her. Y'all better not be doing that. They had one little girl. They had one daughter. Let's stick to that. But then she did the
Mission Impossible. Yeah.
I said, "Oh, hell no!" But I stood up and gave it a standing ovation, and I said, "I knew it was her," and I'm gonna tell you why. With her acting choice at the very beginning of the movie, just like you mentioned, this person was Alfred was the red herring,
Hmm.
and the jock, the creepy guy who was in the closet, he was another red herring, and they made sure the camera work was synonymous with how the killer moved. I don't know if that was a choice or if it was a coincidence, but they made sure we all thought it was Rudy, even with him burying that scarf or whatever, it just stuff like that. But I was just going, it's not him, it's not him, it's not him. Or the girl, the promiscuous girl who was like jealous or whatever, and she wanted that old thing back. And I was like, it's definitely not her, because they are focusing on everybody but the one who is protective over Jenny the most. When Jenny ran away, and she was like, why would you do that? She's new. And then she decided as an actress to do that scowl, that Norman Bates scowl. And I said, bitch, it's you. I know it's you. No one has to tell me nothing. You decided as an actress to not disguise that at all. You couldn't even hide the fact that it was you. You chose to scowl at her after she ran away. That's how
No,
I knew. It's,
I,
it's,
I'm
it's usually the sister, it's usually the best friend.
right. Well, this is my pad of notes, and I'm not going to actually read any of that. But I only show it to you because as that happened, and this is something that, of course, I didn't pick up on when I was a youngster watching the movie, but watching it back this time, and I wrote down Anne gives an evil look. So I will commend you commend you for picking up on that, but I also want to kind of blame the director for giving it away because he did not have to put the camera so hard right on her face to do
Ugh.
that. He made sure that you saw her make that face. So I'm gonna say that that wasn't necessarily all her choice. This was kind of like, hey, give us a kind of snide look, evil look. So, but yeah, yeah, kudos to you for picking up on that. And it sounds like, my man, you just going along for the ride at this point.
Listen. At that point of the movie, I was just like, well, she had picked up on it. We got a little surprise at the end. But I think my favorite part was, when the table scene, and she was singing, "Happy Birthday," to me, and we just see all the different friends, around the table. It was beautiful. Like I feel like I needed on a portrait on the wall somewhere.
So, two things. I'm not gonna lie, but I was confused by Anne's motives. Like so it was her birthday and everyone showed up at her party or whatever, and no one showed up at Jenny's party, and that's why the mother went mad. But I just feel like, and you had everything, but you are pissed off because yo daddy, again, the men, yo daddy stepped out and Jenny's mother was the other woman. Okay, how is that Jenny's part? She should not have been a proxy target. You targeted Jenny because you thought she got whatever because the dad, your dad stepped out on your mom. But what does that have to do with Jenny? She didn't get everything. Everyone showed up to your party. You got the motherfucking money. You got the resources. You got basically all of this, everybody in this friends group. You are the puppet master. You were pulling everybody's strings and you were using everybody's ability to look guilty or be popular or be cute. You were pulling everybody's strings, and then that told me why you befriended Alfred in the first place. If it wasn't because he was rich, it's because he was good at doing something that you needed to get away with this. And then when he gave you what you wanted, you killed him too.
But it's a stain on the legacy, especially if they're Francois.
No one showed up at that girl's party. I feel like to me, Jenny had more of a motive than Anne did. Anne, you're just a brat.
No, exactly. But still, brats can feel a certain type of way and be like, oh, it's still a stain on the legacy
Then yell at your daddy. He did that.
because the other kids at that party
It's
was
giving
probably
stew and what's that? Stew and
Drew.
st- no, this ain't the. I'm not talking about the
No,
Rugrats.
Stu and Billy, Stu and Billy.
Thank you.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
giving
yeah.
Stu and Billy. That's why I said, oh, Scream and Scream 3. She was like Roman, Stu and Billy all wrapped into one, pretty much. But you got most of what Jenny needed in the first place. Her other daddy wasn't even there for her birthday. Girl, you literally had no reason to do this. To me, she didn't. That's for one. And for two, my second thing is I wanted to bring up Interview with the Vampire
Yeah, go for it.
because, well, it's my time to sell you,
Yeah,
sell you
go
an
for it.
interview. Interview with the Vampire, at least I did watch the movie too when I was like 7 or whatever. I was like, oh my God, this movie. But they decided to, put Louis in there. He's black and Claudia is black. And it puts a whole nother spin to the story, the original story. When we saw the movie, the plantation was on there and it was kind of, what? But they didn't do all that plantation stuff in this TV show. But the reason why it has some psychological thriller and horror elements into it is because you cannot trust Louis' perception or his reality. I love basically the generalized at least my point of view of the show is the interviewer comes in and he's like writing notes down and recall, Louis is sitting there recalling, and Louis is like, oh, we were in this house and with me and Lestat and Claudia. And as soon as he says one thing that's off, the interviewer is like, you lying motherfucker. This is not what happened. And you this and you that. And look what she put in the book. That's not what she wrote. And then Louis is sitting there like he's confused because he thinks that that's what happened, but it's not matching up to what Claudia wrote in the diary. So so to me, that is pretty much what's happening with Jenny. With the whole brain surgery, you're looking at her trauma, you're looking at her memories. She's having nightmares or daydreams, and even the body that was supposed to be Anne's body that was supposed to be in the bathtub.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, like that to me at that part, I was like, dang, I was wrong. Like I really thought that was the only time I felt like I was wrong. The only
Okay.
time. But then I was like, hold on, I can't trust her memories. So then the psychologist came in and was like, look, and then the body wasn't there. We were like, hold up, because we were looking at he was a little bit creepy to me too. He was a little bit inappropriate to me too, the psychologist. And I was like, I
Yeah.
hope, huh?
I did pick up on him being inappropriate. Yes.
Yeah. I said, I hope this is not what I think it is, where he's like, she's the first one. That's what he said. So she's the first like guinea pig with the surgery that she got. So for all we know, he was using her like he was the true puppet master. But when they decided to do that unrealistic kill where the blood was everywhere and he got struck in the head, and I was like, I think that was real. But Anne's I don't think Anne really died. I can't trust what she's thinking. Just like I can't trust what Louis is thinking. Just like I can't trust what the Black Swan is thinking. I can't trust any of that. So I got to go based off of who is consistent in this story. And the only one who was consistent was Anne. At least to me. Anne and the dad. They were the only consistent ones to me. Except for when Jenny's dad came home with the presents. I was like, "You're here?" And then
Man, he kept his promise.
yeah, but they kept. I think her name is Amelia. They kept her alive. What was up with that? She's standing there with the. She's at the
Yeah.
gravesite, just standing. I was like, "You're the only one alive."
Yeah. Very. I don't know what the
B
deal with that
plot
was.
they didn't explore.
Yeah, that it was so many like callbacks for me with this movie, so many movies in one. That reminded me of Carrie. It was only one person who survived, and that was the girl. She was at the gravesite, and the hair reached out. Ah!
Yeah.
Like it was Carrie, it was Psycho, it was Friday the 13th, it was Scream 1 and Scream 3. It was I Know What You Did Last Summer, and that's all I can think of.
Okay. Okay. Anything to add? He looks like food for thought over here.
Well, I mean, I yeah, I agree with everything she said. She gave a nice rundown.
What she said.
What she said, I think it was very interesting how. I mean, I love the scene where she rips off the mask or whatever, but I think it was interesting how they weave the story together, because I didn't know, like, this was my first time seeing this, so I didn't know what I was getting myself into. First watching it, I thought it was going to be like a not a dumb flick, but I was like, oh, this is just going to be like pure 80s cheese or whatever, which there was a lot of that in there, but I felt like it was one of the better 80s slashers that
Okay.
I've seen.
Okay.
So.
I'm gonna ask you to hold that thought right there for a second. So I'm gonna get these last couple of comments in, and then I'm gonna let you guys give your final verdict on Happy Birthday to me. And first one is just me because this came out in the 80s, right? Yes, 1981. And we have someone who's seen it. Cal says Happy Birthday was one I watched last year for the first time. Actually, really good. That strangle scene in the beginning was vicious. The ending of Here with the Mask was unbelievable. LOL.
Yes, it was a wild time. It was a wild
I
Fair
was cracking
enough.
up.
All right. So for each of you, you can decide on who's going first. Your final verdict on Happy Birthday to Me.
time. Give your final verdict. All right. Well, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought the kills were awesome. I thought the way that the story was weaved was awesome. There were a couple of choices that they did with a couple characters that I was like, eye roll. But a product of the times. And I did appreciate that we didn't see any teenage nudity
Thank
in this
goodness.
one. Because sometimes traveling down the 80s, you see
Yeah,
way too much. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I feel like it had a few iconic moments. Like you said, the scene where the dude's exercising and gets the kill there, and then the just certain characters. I feel like it was very. This is an iconic film. I feel like Happy Birthday to Me. So I give it a thumbs up. Check it out. Check it out if you have not seen it, people. Check it out.
Yes.
It's streaming. Mika and Kira, it's
Tubi.
on Tubi.
to me.
Yes. Yes, it's streaming on Tubi. That's how we watched it. My final verdict is I didn't know what to expect, but I was really glad that this was the film. I did select this one because I did enjoy the list, but I was like, can we watch something that neither one of us have seen? And I
That's
didn't.
the
We
whole
didn't look
point.
it up. Yeah, we didn't look it up at all. We didn't look it up. We didn't look up the actors, the synopsis, or anything. But once he found it on Tubi, and they said who done it, I was like, ooh, because he knows I love who done it. I love who shot JRs. I love it.
Oh yeah,
I
who's
love it
that
all.
JR?
So from beginning to end, it really, I would say it was a wild ride. I was looking for clues because that's what I like to do watching movies, even down to the toilet, Jenny's toilet. I was like, oh, okay, like it's the error, but also their headmaster. No, they called her the headmistress, and I was like, oh, we don't call that over here. And she was speaking in French, and I was like, "Are they in Canada?" Like I was just looking at all these like clues to figure out where they are, and but I enjoyed the tropes. I enjoyed that they kept all of the elements of a typical horror film, not of the '80s, but of any horror film. The elite friend group and the situation where it's well, even earlier where you said the nerd guy, like the nerd guy did it. That's what happened in The Blackening. I just thought about that. It
Mhm.
was the nerd guy, and I was like, damn it. But anyway, so I did think the kills were creative. I've never seen some of these kills before, especially the shish kebab. That was I don't know. That did something for me. That was very. I
I,
liked it.
I think the sound made that kill. The sound of it.
Yeah, yeah.
When that thing
Um,
went back his throat.
yeah, yeah. Now, of course, there was some like unrealistic stuff, but in some of the scenes, I do feel like I laughed more than. There's no way y'all would be scared of this movie. I was just laughing.
Fair.
This would be the type of film, yeah, that the kids from Scream was probably they would probably watch. I felt like them. Like I'm watching this film with him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this and look at this. But I did also enjoy the many times in the film where they would throw you off. I thought Rudy was dead. Like, and so when I'm looking at Jenny running through the hospital, and I was like, what's going on here? I love that it was predictable, but yet unpredictable and ridiculous at the same time. So I would probably watch this movie again just because not for the story, but the fact that they took the time out with the prosthetics and the gore, and their camera work needed some work.
That's fair.
Cause,
That's fair.
cause how far is the dad gonna be walk? Already walked that far. You supposed to be at the house by now, and the camera it seemed like was going way back into the woods. It's like, bruh, it was towards the end of the film when he had the presents and he was looking for Jenna in the house. It was just like he's going through the trees and then there's more trees. Going through
Yes.
the
Yeah.
trees and then there's more trees. What? Like you already went through the trees, like stuff like that. But I did enjoy the film. And I would watch it again.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Good. Good. Glad to hear it. And we do have a couple of more comments. And so we're gonna check out. Is it streaming? It is streaming. It is streaming on Tubi. I believe is what they said. So we are definitely able to see it there, or you're definitely able to see it there. And Cal says, but in 1981, was that mask stuff believable? LOL. I mean, girls wasn't even the same build or height. Okay, gotta love horror. So I'm going to defend that a little bit. And well, one, Mission Impossible, the TV series, did the mask thing in the 60s. So they did the exact
Yes.
same thing way before that. And then my favorite franchise is the Scream franchise. And how many times does Ghostface look 6 feet tall and the killer is 5 foot woman? So that's happened a couple times in the series. So yes, gotta love horror. So I will agree with that.
But also one thing, Dell. One thing, one thing that made me think that it wasn't Anne was the guy who was lifting the dumbbell. Would he pass that off to a girl? Like, would he tell this girl
I
put
thought
more
that.
on? Like, I felt like he wouldn't.
Yeah, watching it this time, I thought the same thing. I was like, yeah, especially him.
Yeah,
He's not gonna tell a woman that comes in, hey, just throw more weight on there. So
yeah.
I get it. And Callow added, if you're drunk, you gotta love horror if you're drunk. So I thought she was gonna say, I love who shot you, Biggie Smalls. I
That's what I was laughing at.
almost heard that.
Who shot you?
Trailer was scarier than the movie. That's fair. That's fair. And to be fair, the music was creepy when the storm was happening. Always appreciated the doctor respecting her, not acting like she was just crazy. Also, the racing the bridge was fun. So he would do it. So wow, Cal sounds like he would do it. I wouldn't do it. And well, he didn't add it dumb but fun. And he says the '60s now. Come on. Also, only thing I hated about Scream Five, how this girl is 6 foot, but the killer's 5'2". Girl is real. Yeah. So like I said, it's horror. You got to go with some things. And nothing saying Ghostface can't wear heels or stilts.
True.
That's okay. Yeah, that would be kind. I would make killing people kind of tough, though. I will say. I will say
Yeah,
that.
you gotta run.
I've seen some things. I've seen women who can run in heels and stilts.
Yeah, but run and kill people and same time and get back up. Then
Listen,
again, in Jurassic World, she outran dinosaurs in high heels. So
exactly.
what do I know? All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up, but I am definitely gonna give you two the chance to tell the people all about Evil Live, where to find you, what you got coming up, if you got anything coming up, and anything else you want to let us know. I'm gonna give you the big screen for that.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Check us out on YouTube, Evil Live, where we got a bunch of content, interviews, and discussions with the horror community.
Yes.
Check on
Sometimes
out.
I'm on there, sometimes I'm not. What can I say? I'll be tired. But yeah, we're still gonna do Evil Live, but you have something.
Oh yeah, something in the works. I'm
Yes.
keeping it,
Oh,
close until
oh,
I
it's a
start.
secret.
Yeah,
Oh, excuse me.
So
But he's working on something, and so am I. We're just gonna keep that under wraps. But the very next thing is it is January, and in March we are doing BlurCon again.
yes,
We
yes.
are going to be panelists for our
Uh,
popular show.
yes, Black Ass
Black
Decisions.
Ass Decisions,
You
we're
know,
back at it
back at
again.
it
So
again,
check us
folks.
out March the 7th We're going to be in Virginia, Crystal City, Virginia. Look up BlurCon, get your tickets, get your
Yes.
hotel. It's going to be lit all
Yes.
weekend long. We'll be there all weekend long.
Yes.
Okay. What part of Virginia is Crystal City in? Is it northern, southern? You
Oh, my
know.
geography is not even
Okay.
in the room.
Yeah, it's close to DC to the point where they
It
call
So,
is.
it
so north,
Washington
so further north,
DC.
further north.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay. Cool. I'm very happy to hear that for you guys, and I'm sure that you will have fun and do a fantastic job. Mika says, great stream
Thank
and fun
you.
time. And probably my favorite comment of the night, Caveman says, you both have beautiful smiles and lovely looks. Amazing on both of you.
Thank
thank
Cool.
you, thank
you.
you.
So sweet.
Cal says, so you're saying Prince is the killer? Come on, Kate. Yeah, that's a whole different Purple Rain, whole different version of Purple Rain. All right, whole new one. All right, and Mika says we have got to get to a Blurred Con. Looks so
Yes, you
fun.
do.
I need to get to one. I need to get to one myself. Thank you guys. Thank you both for coming on again. Really appreciate it. Maybe we can do this again. Looking forward to it. I had a great time with you both. And for everybody out there, again, thanks for hanging out with us. If you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. I will catch you on the next one. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yes.